AI is the cusp of the next GPT.
And with those four things, I feel like there's so many things that I could do.
What is the most valuable asset that anyone in life could own?
You're effectively saying networking is the key to gain a shortcut in terms of knowledge the person has lived.
So one of the most striking things when you do go to Japan is that for a rich country, people are very hesitant to speak English, as you say.
Agree.
And one of the issues about learning languages is being in your lack of comfort zone. And for whatever reason, in Japan, these people don't like that.
They don't. And it's difficult for them to keep using because when everyone else is not using, they have this group mentality because they're so segregated from other places that, from this history, everyone just wants to be like each other. If you're weird, you're weird. If you're different, you're weird. And in that sense, people just hang out with Japanese people. They don't really spark that curiosity.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the dying population is also helping as well.
It's a safety thing.
It is a safety thing.
So it feels a lot safer if you can control the elements. But actually one of the excitements of life is when you can't manage all of the elements. In fact, most things in life,
there's so many things that's uncontrollable.
When you start with a zone of uncertainty on any question or thought or work you got to do or whatever, you do your homework and you narrow that uncertainty. You not eliminate that uncertainty. Okay. So in the end, you just have to trust your instincts, trust your background, trust the knowledge you've got, the training, and you say, well, I think that this is the way to go. Now, we all do that to some extent because the future's always uncertain and whatever. The key question is when you need to advocate.
When you need to advocate, what do you mean
by that? When you need to basically say what I think we should do. Right. Or to go back to the example just started from of the language, here's my way of which I think the idea will be communicated to you in a foreign language or whatever else it is from there.
Exactly. No one knows the truth. There's so many things. So even language learning, everyone has different styles of learning. So you might be a person who learns from, I don't know, let's say music.
Yeah.
Because you have that musical brain. Another person might love reading, another person might hate it. So to me, that's really, it's intriguing because I hear that and I'm like, okay, works in theory, but that confidence of uncertainty and saying this is correct, this should be the ways of learning languages, this should be the ways of networking. There's always going to be like, well, it might depend on different people.
And what's more, you can take it to another level. Not only have you got to learn a lot of things, on any major, let's say, work-related issue, there's 25 things that are relevant.
Yeah.
But you can't communicate 25 things that are relevant because it just takes too long and it's not there.
I agree.
What you really got to do is to communicate the priorities. Now, we all nod and wise and say, yeah, of course, you've got to tell me the most important 3 or 4 things on the issue, and that's absolutely true. But think about what you've just said. What you've said is that I know that there are 25 things that are relevant to this conversation. Mm-hmm. Relevant, but most of them are not terribly important. I'm going to use my smarts. I'm going to use my training. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use my knowledge. And I'm going to use my confidence to tell you the 3 that matter. Well, that's really exposing myself.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Because what about if you think it should be another 3? What about if I'm wrong and it should be another
change,
4?
And change, right?
And who knows?
Exactly.
So to say that you're going to speak effectively about the priorities means you have to work out what those priorities are.
Correct.
Okay, I can sort of think about that. But then you need to advocate and put yourself out there and be very vulnerable on whether they truly are the 3 important things that matter, and it's in a contested space because there's no truth.
There is no truth.
Because there's only uncertainty.
These are all subjective in a sense, right?
Because they don't have the deep knowledge about the 25 things.
Yeah.
And that's because partly they haven't been exposed to all 25 of them yet. They're still learning, they're still reading, whatever. But more importantly, they don't have the experience that comes from working for 30 years of living with those 25 things.
And that's the experience, that's the knowledge, and that's the people you know.
And that's where you either, remember we said before, you either live it, which takes 30 years, or you learn it from other people and you truly listen to what they say. Because if you listen to what they actually say and you internalize, say, well, I haven't lived that, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, but I trust you. I can hear what that says. I'll put that into my memory bank, and I can shorten the time that I need to realize it myself. And that makes me more effective at a younger age, because I can then speak confidently about those 3 issues that I've chosen from the 25. Or at least say, look, this is where the answer lies. I may not have the answer within those 3, but I know that this is the broad metrics about where the answer lies, and then we can talk about that.
So you're effectively saying networking is the key to gain a shortcut in terms of knowledge the person has lived?
I'm saying networking speeds the process enormously up. But it doesn't replace the need for confidence.
It doesn't, no.
To put yourself out there. You have to feel vulnerable. And because the world's uncertain, as I said before, there is no point where you narrow uncertainty to 0. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen. It never happens. If it ever happened, you're really just talking about the past, which is no one wants to talk about the past.
Exactly.
That's not interesting. You want to be active and contemporaneous and setting yourself up for the future, and the future by definition is uncertain for many different things. And this is a real struggle that young people make, partly because they don't understand that that's what the decision framework is about, but also partly because they don't want to feel like that. It's much safer. And different
stay
cultures,
in your lane, stay in your place.
Some cultures are more ambitious than others. Some genders are more ambitious than others. Some people are more ambitious than others. Introverts, extroverts, whatever it is from there.
Agree.
And all of this is just part of the broad tapestry of life.
Yeah.
So where are you?
I would say
Where are you within all of this?
I would say I'm always curious. I love networking as well. I do also have this thing where I learn a lot. I'm not shy. Definitely try to live the life that I can so that I can actually gain the experience and gain the confidence.
Yeah.
And this is not just me, but I'm pretty sure this is for a lot of young people. They get a lot of advice saying, hey, you should travel while you're young. No, you should be working your ass off. No, you should be getting a family. Like that, you should not be getting a family because the cost of living is too expensive. You should be investing in yourself. Get a home. All these counterintuitive advices that goes against each other.
Yes.
And obviously, as you said, there is no right topic. So a lot of people that has lived the life will give their personal opinion on what they think is right.
And that is fine. Advice is good. I mean, that's what I was saying. Speak to people who've been there and learn it from yourself. But
they might get an advice fatigue in a sense.
But there's a way through this that is very important.
Right.
And that is, and I think you mentioned it earlier on.
Yeah.
You have to be truly curious about what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
You have to actually be interested in, if you're going to travel, well, it's because you've got to actually genuinely love being in unfamiliar places or seeing things you've read about or experiencing different foods or whatever else it is. If that gets you really excited and curious and interested to say, why do people who live in Germany never travel more than 100 kilometers from their hometown, ever? And live their entire life within that area.
That comes from curiosity, right?
That's their way. They don't have the same curiosity about what happens further than 100 kilometres away. Not everyone in Germany, but there's still some people who've done that. Why do Australians travel all over the world? And you just can't find anyone who ever stays still. And so part of it is cultural, part of it is just what people are, part of it is the things that they get expressed. And when you say, look, people advise this and say get a family and work hard and whatever, well, the issue is just saying we have to live within we have to accept that there is a constraint that we all have to face 24 hours in a day. Yep. Star Trek has broken that, but nobody else ever has.
Yep.
And Star Trek is make-believe, so we have to live in the real world.
Yep.
And given that there's only 24 hours,
it's just a finite resource.
Which is it's the ultimate finite resource.
Yep.
You have to be strategic. And everything you have to do when you're using your time is to think about, is this a sensible hour for me to be doing here for whatever reason? And that includes, hey, I just want to chill out and do absolutely nothing for an hour. I just want to go walking. I want to really study hard. I want to get a blog going. I want to learn some more stuff. I want to do some overtime at work. I want to read a book that's interesting about. I want to chat to a friend I haven't chatted to for a while. All these are competing different interests.
It is, yeah.
And yet the answer is still yes, but you've got 24 hours in a day. And the more you do of one thing is one less thing you can do of another. Now, humans solve this problem by getting variety, generally anyway. Some people don't like variety, but many people do. They do one thing on Saturday night, they do something different different on the next Saturday night.
Agree? Yeah.
But what they're really doing is saying not that they didn't enjoy what they did the first Saturday night, but they get more pleasure, if you like, diminishing returns from doing the same thing again, so try something new.
You do, yeah.
Fit something else into that 24-hour period. Instead of being busy, relax. Or instead of going out, do something indoors. Or whatever else it is.
Utility, right?
That they do. And all of that is utility maximization. And young people have this enormous asset. In fact, the most valuable asset that anyone can own.
What is that?
What is the most valuable asset that anyone in life can own?
I believe it must be time.
It is time.
Warren Buffett
Well
said
done.
he'll give up, nearly all his wealth.
You cannot buy more time. You can try to prolong it. That is true. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it is. And young people have lots more time than older people. And so young people are in principle richer than older people as a concept of this.
Agreed.
I always say that there is a great inequality, much richer than I am, and there's nothing I can do about it.
And I think everyone gets so caught up in the actual money.
But then young people don't
dollar
recognize this.
Yeah.
They don't recognize this asset that they have, so they waste time. They think, I have so much time, it doesn't matter, I'll just do this or that, or I don't really like this, but I might as well just carry on. It's a silly way of thinking, because that valuable asset depreciates at a very, very known speed. It's called the speed of time.
Especially if you do the exact same thing every single day.
And so you don't want to do the same thing every day. You don't want to sort of stay in a rut and say, oh, well, I might as well do this for 5 years, who cares, I get paid well, or whatever else. No, that's not right at all. Because eventually when you get older, when you look backwards, you've got to be thinking about how did I use my time, and was that a smart way of using my time? Was it a good way? Now, no one's trying to say it was perfect at every time and it's all, totally rational and all this sort of thing. Sometimes you just want to do silly things. And that's all fine. That's also part of the experience. But young people don't appreciate the value of the thing that they have by definition of being young, and therefore they waste it in ways that, well, at least they waste some of it in ways that are there. Whereas you should be strategic. Everyone should have a kind of a broad 10-year plan sitting in their mind,
right,
where they say, in 10 years' time, TAKA's going to be here.
Right.
The likelihood of actually you being there in 10 years' time is highly unlikely, because all sorts of things will happen, life will intervene, and all sorts of stuff will go.
Yeah.
But it means that you're in the mindset of thinking, what is strategic for me to be doing to meet a 10-year plan?
Right.
And then if you adjust it, you'll be adjusting it because there's a reason why you're adjusting it.
Yeah. And what's one thing you can talk about in terms of AI? Because a lot of people will be like, yeah, great, 10-year plan, 5-year plan, I had that. But due to AI,
I do.
In 10 years, I don't even know if I'll be valuable in this current economy. Right?
Well, we don't even know what AI will look like in 10 years' time. Look,
and it's scary.
Look, it's scary in one way and incredibly exciting in the other.
I love that optimism.
So the world's had around about 3, maybe 4, of these huge, big technological changes, which we call general purpose technologies, GPTs.
And this is around dot-com boom?
And no, well, sort of. It was actually, the dot-com boom wasn't. It was the computer revolution, 1980, is the last one. Before that, you've got to go back to potentially the invention of steam cars, and steam engine, of chemicals and other things. Electricity is the one that is a big one, 1890s. Where they standardized electrical code. And so these things are very rare, GPTs. And guess what? We're on the cusp of a new one. AI is the cusp of the next GPT, general purpose technology, not chat GPT. That's a different terminology.
I was going to say, chat GPT.
Terrible name. They didn't realize it when they did it. But anyway. And so that's incredibly exciting for young people, because they're going to live. Well, my job started with the computer revolution. I still remember the day a computer turned up on my desk for the first time.
I thought you were in the 20s.
And so, that's when I was starting off, and the internet wasn't around. Anyway, long stories. And so I saw the computer revolution. It was really exciting. There were very unreliable products. There was a lot of issue about what to do with them, how to work them, are they really efficient, whatever. Now we're at the cusp of AI. So young people should be saying, well, 1, this thing's going to be around for a long, long time. 2, no one knows where it's going to go. And 3, I should embrace it, and because I'm going to be working for the next 40 years, it's in my interest to learn as much as I can about it now.
Agreed. For
something that's going to be part of my career for 40 years.
It is going to be.
So the tragedy is the people who say, oh, it's too complex, it's too worried, I don't want to learn about it, it's going to take a lot of my time. No, you have a lot of time. You should embrace it, you should be thinking about it, you should be working out What's good about it? What's bad about it? When does it work? How do we get people to accept it and whatever? How do I know that I am going to be on the cusp of the changes for the next 30 years as this thing evolves and as we learn more about what it can be used for? But is that scary? Yeah, sure. Uncertainty is scary. Because it's scary, does that mean you should put your head in the sand and say, I don't know anything about this, please make it go away? Absolutely not. Especially for young people who are going to be the major beneficiaries of AI. Look, I'm not going to be a huge beneficiary of AI. I won't be working long enough. You will be. In fact, we'll always have plenty of jobs because there's always good things for people to do. But what it will do is it will divide the population between the people who can use AI well and the people who cannot use AI at all.
Yeah.
And the latter group will not be able to compete for jobs that you need AI with, which is why every young person should learn more about
And
AI.
I feel like this whole thing around AI is just accelerating the economic growth, right? And I've heard a quote saying today, time's okay?
No, we're doing that.
Today is like the slowest day in economic future, but it's also the fastest day it's ever been when you compare against the history. And it's only going to go faster. If you look at the S&P, it's just a given thing where it just goes up in value because obviously one, money, there's more money in the current economy, but two, it's because the acceleration of growth.
This standard question around where is the human in the loop in this conversation? Where is the aspect about the AI providing a set of information and ideas even, but the human then shifting and focusing? And the hardest part for young people is going to be this idea of developing that a machine gives me something, computer says if you like. How do I then interrogate that and think about whether that's meaningful, whether it's not, which part of it is right, which part of it is wrong, what's good about it, what's not, and then me take it to the next level. And that is the challenge that young people face because they don't yet have that background knowledge and understanding of a lived experience within which to then start thinking about how do I assess in a meaningful way the computer output. In other words, they're just too biased to accept what the machine says. Be skeptical. And you should be skeptical of everything you hear anyway because it gets your critical thinking going no matter who says it or what happens.
I'm in a unique position where I'm transitioning, I'm trying to collect as much resources as I can. And when I say resources, I define 4 things that I try to collect. I try to collect every single day. People, knowledge, experience, and money.
Yep. And
with those,
they're good things.
And with those 4 things, I feel like there's so many things that I could do.
Yep.
Because it's just a compound effect, and it's also, and that for me, there's going to be more opportunities, and just if I know more about the world, if I experience, if I go travel the world, that's an experience. If I live through it, as you said, I can make more of the right decision than anything.
That's exactly right. And my last thing I'm going to have to go off is to say, those are 4 fabulous things. They bounce between each other, they knock on each other, sometimes one lives more than the other lives, and so forth from there. But the excitement of youth is that you've got all of this time, this most valuable asset, to be able to work out, to be able to afford to have some time that focus more on one than the other, to see how they interact, to learn about it, and ultimately to start doing something that you think is meaningful for you in developing, in shaping, and creating things.
And you just have to pursue it if you think it's wrong, because young people might be wrong depending on the skills and the experience that they've lived. If they're wrong.
And mistakes are part of life. Learn from them and go in from there. That's part of it as well.
And just one more thing, if you were to go back when you're 26 or something, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't do anything differently.
You wouldn't?
I have a blessed ability to know that everything that turned out is just whatever it is. The fascinating part would be, the only thing I'd like to do differently is I'd like to have created a second clone of myself in order to be able to have some other set of lived experiences that would have worked out.
Right.
And I better go anyway. All the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all the best to you.